Happy Homebrew Wednesday, everybody. Nathan McKenzie here again. How are you all doing? Right, a bit of a different Homebrew Wednesday for me today. I've been doing all grain brewing now for just over a year. And really what I want to do in this video is just share a few things really that what I've discovered over the year and really what's coming up with my channel and bits and pieces like that. So I'll better wet the whistle though before we get too carried away. Just this will help. I've got some notes down here, but you know I'm actually a bit nervous about this one. Just because there's a lot I want to get across really. So I'll do my best, eh? Still drinking on this Rogue Oatmeal Stout. And that's just a great beer. Righty-ho. So cheers everybody, before we get into this. I needed that. Righty-ho. So, yeah, 1 year of all grain brewing. I did my first all grain brew using the brew in the bag method on around about the 25th of May 2013. It was a Pilsner Urquell recipe, as I've just done it for the second time, as you know from some of my previous videos. The biggest thing I've learnt is this community that we're involved in. This YouTube community is just fantastic. It's just a community that's full of all these guys are giving you and us and everybody just this abundance of information just freely. And these guys, you know, you can ask them questions, you can do, you know, and they get right back to you with questions, tips, helpful advice. It's just such a community where everyone just will freely share their information. No one's being really guarded over, oh, I better not tell you this little tip or else you'll brew better beer than me. It's just not like that at all, and it's a very unique community, really, and I think it's fantastic, and I'm glad and I'm very proud to be a part of it, to be honest with you. So with all that warm and fuzzies out of the way, what have I learnt over I'll be doing some shout outs as I'll be going through some of the subjects as well that you know, people's channels that I found particularly helpful for that subject and so forth. Now I'm bound to miss a few people out, so please don't be offended. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I don't comment on as many as I should, because a lot of the time I'm watching on my iPad and I find that you can't really comment directly back on, they've changed YouTube. So on your computer you can, but your iPad you find it's a bit generic. You know, you put your you know, you comment in there, and then you go to re-comment, and it's like a new comment, so it's hard to link both. Rambling anyway, that's just YouTube stuff. Ugh. Anyway, first of all, yeast. Over this year, probably one of what has contributed to my beer getting better is yeast. More so me being able to handle it correctly, dry and liquid. If it's dry, rehydrating it properly is really important. You know, if you don't, you're losing 50% of it as soon as you pitch into your wort. So you've really got to rehydrate it correctly, which is easy. You know, around about 230, 300 mils of water, around about 25, 30 degrees, 15 minutes, goes milky, swirl her up, give her another 15 minutes, pitch, happy days. So there's nothing, you know, we all know how to do that. It's good, but mainly with liquid yeast, making yeast starters. Now I don't know about a lot of you guys, but I was really quite apprehensive of making a yeast starter. basically the fear I had with making a yeast starter is, right, I've spent $16 on this vial of yeast. In New Zealand, that's $16 to $18 is what it'll cost you. Yeah, that's, you know, you're looking at dry yeast, $6 for a sachet, so it's a bit of an investment for your liquid stuff. So what I was concerned about making a yeast starter, what if, you know, I infect it? What if I muck it up? Sort of thing. But, you know, as long as you're on top of your, you know, using good sanitizer, and you're keeping everything very clean and sanitized, you're not going to have a problem. And what a difference a taste in the beer will make if you're not underpitching your yeast. You know, the yeast starters, if you're brewing and you're brewing stuff over a higher gravity than a 1050, then you really do need a yeast starter. And the difference in the flavour of the finished product is you can taste it. You can taste it. Without it, if your yeast isn't stressed out, you know, there's no lingering esters that shouldn't be there or anything. I just really can't stress how much of a difference making yeast starters have made. You know, I always had my attenuations were always very, very high, and now they're pretty well on the button every time. You know, Beersmith says it's going to come out here. 9 times out of 10 it does come out there. If not, sometimes a little bit higher, sometimes a little bit lower, but it's pretty on the button. Also on the subject of yeast, and the expense of liquid yeast, growing yeast. That is my preferred method of reusing liquid yeast, is at the very beginning growing it, putting it into half mason jars for another 3 to 4 pitches from growing it. It takes the best part of a week to do it properly, but it is well worth it, because now all of a sudden my investment of $16 to $18 into this beautiful liquid yeast is now cheaper than dry, because I'm going to use it for a good 3 to 4 pitches. So very well worth doing. And my first shout out is first off, the Yeast book by Jamel Zainashev. I haven't even got it with me. I was going to bring it out here, but I forgot. Sorry about that. That is a fantastic book. Now that is, and also Grant Baker's channel. He does a wee video there on growing yeast, and then dividing it into 3 or 4 pitches, and that is a fantastic little video. He's sped it up and he's edited it very well, so it's very precise, very to the point. I've probably watched it about I've watched it heaps actually, especially when I've been doing it, because he just spells the steps out really well. So yeah, I'll put that video and his information in the more info section down below. Now I have washed yeast as well. Excuse me, I didn't get a very good result with the washed yeast that I used. I found that I had a couple of slightly infected batches from my washed yeast. Yeah, it was a estery a clove flavour in my beer, which was not very off-putting and just got stronger, really. So yeah, that's why I prefer to, at the very beginning, grow it, divide it into 3 or 4 pitches. I just feel it's a lot cleaner than washing the troop at the bottom. You know, when you're tipping up your fermenter, yeah, such stuff. This is, hey, if washing yeast works for you and you're getting great results, don't listen to me. That's just what works for me and what didn't work for me. And growing the yeast works for me, where washing yeast really didn't. Well, if I change fermenters, I either go to a conical fermenter. I hope my wife's not listening. She's always giving me a hard time about spending too much money on brewing. Then I may relook at washing yeast, but at the moment, no, I probably won't. I'll probably grow at the beginning. Right, try not to make this video too long, so we better move on. Right, the second thing over the year is the actual brewing process. So I started with small grain with brew in the bag, and I found that really good. really good. Your main advantages there with brewing the bag is a very small footprint of equipment. Basically a pot, a wort chiller, a bag, and a burner. You're good to go. You can do smaller batches as well. I opted just to do straight 23 litre batches still, so the kitchen stove was sort of off the radar there. It was just too much for the kitchen stove, and you'd be there all night. Your main disadvantage for brewing the bag, I found, was efficiency. I couldn't get. Sometimes I'd hit my efficiency right on, sometimes I wouldn't, and yeah, I was finding it a little bit hit and miss there, and it was starting to frustrate me. Only a bad tradesman blames his tools, and there's a lot of people that love brewing the bag method, and they're happy to do so. And it's a great method, and I'm glad for it. It really got me into all grain brewing. At the very beginning. So, sorry, I don't mean to bag it, because I'm not bagging it. It's just I felt I needed to try something more and over above, and I did, and I went to a mash tun. Oh, that's good. Alright, I went to a mash tun, a cooler, a chili bin type style, and I've done 3 brews with it now. And I have to say, those 3 brews have probably been my best beers. And they're just getting, not my best beers, but getting really close. I've got a couple of Brewing the Bag beers that have worked out very, very, really, really good as well. So, yeah, I can't give all the credit to the mash tun, but my efficiency has just climbed up there with the use of the mash tun. So I'm getting all my goodness out. I'm not leaving any sugars behind, and that's the main thing, really. And over this year, I think my improvement with my beer has been not only just using the mash tun, it's been just having that process down now on when I'm doing a brew, getting my temperature spot on, and with my mash, keeping that temperature with the chili bin. I'm only losing half degree to a degree max for the whole time, so it's just working out really well. And also with the boil, getting the hops in at the right time and not dilly-dallying, getting it cooled fast. It's just that's brewing, isn't it? The more you do, the better you get at it. And I feel at the moment my beers have really turned the corner with getting this process down. And it's a great feeling, to be honest. It's I'm excited about brewing. I've always been excited about brewing, but all of a sudden I feel like my beer's gone from here to here, and it's just going to keep getting better. So that's exciting, and hence why I wanted to sort of share this video with you a little bit here. Excuse my rambling. But also fermentation temperatures, it's so important. I ferment in a fridge and a temperature controller with a heat pad, and I can keep my temperatures to 0.3 of a degree. So if I'm brewing an ale at 19 degrees, it's not going to get any hotter than 19.3, not going to get any cooler than 18.7. So that's that variation I'm happy with, and my beers show no esters, as in funky esters that shouldn't be there from high or low, too low, stressed out yeast stuff. So it's clean. It's just tasting nice and clean. And again, that purchase of a second-hand fridge temperature controller, it was money well spent. Before that, I'd be quite stressed out. My beer was better in the winter than it was the summer. And my big drive to actually get the fridge and the temperature controller was I brewed a cider, and it got stinking hot. It must have got up to 28 degrees at one stage, and the taste of bananas in the cider was very off-putting. It was quite, yeah, and that was it. Well, I can't brew again until I get a temperature-controlled fridge. So, yeah, and that's what I did, and it's been fantastic ever since. A shout out goes here to Tiny from Off Tap Brewing. His tips in under 5 minutes or less are fantastic. I'm sure you've checked his channel out. If you listen to me, you would have checked his channel out. I'll put his information down below also. So much info on his channel. It's his back catalogue's full of good stuff. So yeah, check him out if you haven't already, but I'm sure you have. Excuse me. And another shout out to Paul from Time for Another One. If you want to see someone's so passionate about brewing, the craft beer scene in Wellington, he's your man. And he's got a brew system there that you can only dream of. He also gives his time so freely and generously also to the community, and just for instance, all the work he's doing on the H.B.W website, and he's the main hub also for New Zealand. So lots of work there. He's a busy man, but he just, he finds an extra gear and just gets into it. So cheers, Paul. You're, yeah, invaluable work on that website, I tell you. Righty ho, moving right along. From the south here, we're not used to giving compliments. Or taking them. So anyway, moving on. Now this is probably where I've needed to take a step back, and I've probably got 2 videos on my back catalogue which are kind of open, and nothing else has been done with them. Part 1 and Part 2 of Irish Red Ale. So I jumped in and I thought, I had a couple of early successes with some recipes. So I got a bit full of myself and thought, oh yeah, my favourite style is an Irish Red style. I'm sure I can tweak this and make a really great one. No, I didn't do very well actually. The last 2. The first one was a lovely light ale. It was actually a really nice light ale. I was a bit annoyed about it though because it wasn't what I was going for, but I needed to take a step back, and actually it was a really sessionable, nice light ale. It was only about 3%. It was a lovely beer. It was nice. Second one wasn't so good because I had a bit of an infected yeast as well in that batch, and it was too dark. So since then, I have been studying sort of styles of beers a bit more, or what grains should be and shouldn't be used in different styles. And it's got the old grain matter going a bit more. I was just guessing. What will go with this, what will go with that, and I didn't really have a clue, to be honest with you. So part 3 will be coming for that to finish it off. Now that Irish Red has evolved, because I like rye now. I've tried rye beers and I like rye, so I might even try an Irish Red with a bit of rye malt in there. So it won't be an Irish Red anymore. It's evolved. So anyway, keep your eye out for that one. It'll be a wee way away though. Righty ho, where am I now? So what's coming up for my channel? Because this is going on too long now, so I'm going to cut you a bit short. What is going on for my channel? I'll be having more brewing videos in the next year. So look out for that. There'll be a few more of them. Also, vids on water adjustment. It's just a subject that I'm starting to dabble in and get around, because I've got a blind spot on the water that I have in Invercargill is very soft water, very low in mineral content. So I need to adjust my water for IPAs and so forth I want the hops to shine. They're not shining, they're a bit dull in my beers, I feel. So that's now one area where I feel my brewing and my work with my yeast and all the rest of it, now that is the subject where I can improve my beer more. So as I learn more on that, I'll try to share that information